Hey guys, I've gotten some questions on how to get that slide that I've got where it has like the floor plans and it has little red dots and you can click on it and it does little pop-ups. So that was built in Storyline, and for those of you guys that want to do something similar, I'll show you how to do it real quick. I'm going to go ahead and start from scratch straight in Storyline. So you guys can build it straight in Storyline. You can build it in PowerPoint and bring it in. It doesn't matter. It's all going to kind of do the same thing. But let's go ahead, and I've got a new project started. I'm going to go ahead and go into the blank slide, and we'll start in here to show you. I'm going to go ahead and take the view down a little bit. Now, again, I'm doing this kind of on the fly, so some things may be a little bit slower, some things may go a little faster. I don't know. Also, my kid has started getting into this phone game where Marvel superheroes play each other. So I took a screenshot off of that, and we'll play around with that and kind of use that as an example. So with that being said, let's go ahead, and what I'm going to do is get a background going. So I'm going to go ahead and start with a shape. Let's do a rectangle, and I want to change the color. I don't want a white background. I'm going to do the whole thing, and let's do it as like a silver or something. So let's see, format shape. We're going to change the fill from a solid blue, more like a silver color. All right. I'm going to also go into format shape, and let's go ahead and get rid of the line. We don't need that for this because it's background. All right, so now I'm going to go in and I want to create two boxes. I'm going to create a narrow one with instructions on the side, and then I'm going to create a bigger one where we'll actually have the interaction in the middle. All of this is on the base layer right here. So I'll even go ahead so I know what's going on here and just call this the background layer. Okay, a lot of this is going to be showing and hiding layers as we go through it. So that's what we're kind of looking at. All right, so let's go ahead and do two more shapes. I'm going to do the rounded rectangle just because I think they look a little bit nicer. We'll do one there, and let's go ahead and do a second one over here. So do something like that. All right, let's move that over a little bit and make it look unique. All right, I'm going to make this a darker gray. So let's go, let's see how that's looking. Probably even darker than that. Let's make it stand out a lot. Let's go here and here. All right, that'll work. We'll do that one. And then this one I'm going to make straight black. No reason right now, just kind of thinking through it. All right, I'm going to go ahead and change the line color. And we'll make that a black border, and we're going to make this one a black border as well for now. It'll just be straight black all the way around. Okay? And that's just because I'm trying to make it look a little more high-tech like the game on the fly. All right, so now we are going to put in the instructions in here. So I'm going to go ahead and manually do this. So let's do instructions. All right, and I'm going to bold it. I'm going to spell it right. And I'm going to underline it because it's going to kind of be like the header in here. All right. I'm also going to go ahead and move this up to the top, just like I would do in PowerPoint. I'm going to go in here. I'm going to hit on the shape. I'm going to go to home, and over here you can see the text alignment, text direction. I want to align the text to the top. And that's on the big gray one in the back. We don't want that one. I need to click on the actual box here and align it to the top. That's really close to the top, so I'm going to go ahead and just put a space in there so that it makes it a little different. All right, I'm going to take off my bold, I'm going to take off my underline, and I'm going to left align it now, and I'll type in the instructions. So we'll do something like in the box to the right, click on a red dot to view information about the selected character. And I would probably go through and try and flesh that out so it looked like the instructions went all the way down the whole box. Just make it look a little more natural. All right. So now I'm going to insert, and I'm going to take, let's see. I don't know if that's going to work. So I'm going to insert a picture. And that's from the one that we were building before. I am going to go to my desktop. And I want or screenshot right there. All right, so that's the little game she's playing right now. We're gonna go ahead and crop that down because I don't need my phone information on there. And since these guys kind of got clipped at the bottom, we can clip them off. We don't need all of these for our example, so I'm gonna go ahead and let's just take those ones right there. Okay, so I'm gonna clip that one, click off of it. Now we kind of have a clip down size that we're looking at. Okay. So what I would probably do at this point, I'm going to go ahead and center this up a little more. Give it a little bit of that black border. I'm going to crop it one more time. Take this edge out over here. All right, and that way it looks a little bit more kind of centered what we're going to do here. I'll bump it up here to the top a little bit. All right. Now there's a way, and I don't want to go ahead and mess with it. You guys can look it up, but there is a way that you can actually get this so it's got the rounded edges and everything. I'm just going to pretend we're not going to mess with that. In fact, to make this look a little bit easier, I am going to change this shape to a square box. The client's not going to know one way or the other, so let's go ahead and change this up to a straight square box. I like my spacing on that, so I'm going to try and pull that in. All right, format the shape. Make it black, and we're going to make the line black as well. Hit close just like in PowerPoint. I'm going to right click it and send it to the back. All right, so now that's what we're working with. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this one that has the curved edges, and of course you would do that to me. There is rectangle 1. Nope. Rectangle 3. I'm looking down here on the bottom trying to figure out which rectangles I needed. All right, so rectangle 4, I need rectangle 3. We're going to delete that one out. Send this one to the back. Oh, now I need to send this gray one because I forgot to have that as an actual background slide too. We need to send that one to the back. All right, so now we got something we're looking at, looking a little bit better. Let's go ahead and scroll you up. We'll kind of make it look like you got an artificial border. We'll close this thing down a little bit. Get you to really kind of line up in here like I want you. All right, we're going to cheat it. I'm going to click that. I'm going to hit shift and click the black box. That way both of them are selected. And this is a PowerPoint thing, but again, a lot of stuff in Storyline works with PowerPoint too. I'm going to go to arrange, and I am going to align the centers. I'll click it again and align them vertically by the middle. Now, at least it's lined up. And this one, like I said, we're going to go ahead and, whoops, take that back. We're going to go ahead and, if I can, drag that up so that it more goes in line. It looks a little more natural now. Okay. All right. So that was a lot of just kind of getting things set up. Not a big deal. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to insert the red dots that you guys saw. So I'm going to go in here. I'm just going to grab a circle. I'm going to hit shift so that it keeps the same size and shape. And we'll do something that's probably a little bit too big. Let's go ahead and do that right there. Okay. I'm going to right click in the middle of it and I'm going to format it. And let's go ahead and do a, let's see, we want red and we want the line color. Let's do dark red for the line color. A little bit darker so there's a contrast there. Okay. So there's our red dot. And I'm just going to, for right now, put it on one of them. Let's go ahead and copy and paste it into this top row. And again, you can kind of arrange them and order them and make them look a lot nicer if you want to. Not a big deal. Okay. All right. So we'll do that. So at this point, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to convert this to a button. Let's see. I'm going to pause this real quick. All right, so we're going to change this circle that we made to a button. First thing we need to do is add some states to it. So we have our normal state, then we need it where the mouse is hovering over it, and then when you click down on it. So we're going to hit edit states on the first one. I'm going to go ahead and hit new. If you hit the drop down, you'll see here's the hover, down visited. All we really need is hover and down. Hover is when your mouse is over it, down is when you actually click it. So I'm going to go ahead and add it. And that makes here, all we're going to do is, let's see if it's going to let me, I'm going to go, oh yeah, so I've got it selected, hover selected. I'm going to come up here, I'm going to go to home, and I want to change the background color. So I'm going to go over here to shape fill. And when it's hovered over, let's make it look a little bit brighter. Let's do that and see if that works. All right, so hopefully when we hover over, it'll look whiter. And then I'm going to go ahead and you can either do new state or I'm going to actually duplicate this one. I'm going to hit the drop down. I'm going to do down. So we're actually clicking it now. And I'm going to do the same thing when we come up to shape fill and I'm going to do this one a lot darker. All right, so that looks like it's clicked on. Now, ideally, again, what will happen if I go here and hit done and we preview it, let's go ahead and preview. When I move over the red button, it should go lighter. And when I actually click on it, it gets darker so that I know I'm clicking on it. All right, and then I hop off. All right, so let's go ahead and close that. Now to make it copy over to these other four really quick, I'm going to go back to my timeline. I'm going to select my first one, which is here. I'm going to hit Format Painter, and then I'm going to click on the next one. I'm going to hit Format Painter, and then I'm going to click on the next one. So I'm going to hit Format Painter and click on the next one. And what it should do is if I go to states now, it should have copied over the states from the first one because we basically kept copying over the format so that they all look the same. Okay. Last thing I want to do real fast is I want to go ahead and go in here and name these so that I can work my triggers here in a second. All right. So I've got oval 1, and we're going to call that one Tigra button, or actually let's do BTN Tigra. That looks like what that character's name is. And then here we're going to do oval 2. Come on, timeline. I'm going to double click that, call it a button, and that one is going to be Quake. And we're going to go up here to button 3, and that one is button Terrax. And button 4 here is going to be button Black for Black Widow. All right. And again, I'd copy these on as many of them as I want to do later on or whatever. All right. So with that being said, let me go ahead and what we're going to do is basically create a layer for each one of these characters. And what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and insert a shape. I'm going to do one more box since we have this space under here now. And in this box, we will have it pop up and we'll just say some information about the character. And then we can close it out and go to the next one or something like that, okay? In this case, in mine, I had everything on the screen so big it was covering it up, so I had to have like a close button, which would take us back to the normal layer. On this one, we probably don't have to do that because you'll still be able to see the characters up there, but we can play around with it. I'll show you that either way. All right, but we're going to have this. I want it to look a little bit like this box so it all looks natural. So again, I'm going to click on the box itself. I'm going to go to Home. I'm going to hit Format Painter and click on this one, and now the boxes look the same. All has that uniform feel. And now what I'm going to do at this point, because I'm liking the way this looks, is I'm going to go ahead down to my layers, and I'm going to duplicate the layer so I have the next one. And this one we're going to call Tigra Info, because it's going to be about that character. Okay. All right, so what I want is when we get to the background, I'm going to delete this out because I don't want that box showing up. I just want the instructions with the thing to click on. When Tigra pops up, it's going to pop up this box. I'm going to go ahead and insert real quick another shape. And I'm going to do this with a close button. So I'm going to type in close. All right, and we'll go ahead and make this one something somewhat black so that it kind of fits with the theme that we're going here. All right, so I'm going to do shape fill. Let's do this one as like a dark gray with a black outline. All right, and then what we're going to do is go ahead and I'm going to put in some basic text here, nothing really big. I'm just actually going to do it, I think, as a new text box if it'll let me, just so that I don't have to worry about it like fitting right in the box and stuff. Tigra is a good character. She hits hard and looks like a tiger. All right, so we'll leave it at that. All right, so that one's ready to go. So what I need to do now is I have to go back to my base layer where the button is, okay? And I'm going to go ahead and delete these two out. If you guys haven't watched the other video about how to do the navigation and stuff like that, it'll talk to you about how to do that. So hopefully you guys remember how to do the navigation. But here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the button so it's selected. So we're on button Tigra. I'm going to build a new trigger, and I'm going to say show layer. I'm going to do Tigra info. I want to do when the user clicks the button, and I want it to be the button Tigra. So what are we doing? We're showing a layer with her info when the user clicks on the button. That's the little red button on her name. Okay, and I'm going to hit OK. All right, so back up here, everything should still work, and honestly, they'll probably be able to jump back and forth, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit the close. I'm going to go into states. We're going to change that into a button real quick, and to do that, I'm going to go ahead and edit states. I'm going to duplicate this layer just so it's easier right now, and we're going to do that one as a hover and add it. And kind of like on the last one, I'm going to go up here and I'm going to make that a lighter gray so it looks like you're actually hovering over it. And then I'm going to duplicate it. I'm going to change this one to down. I'm going to add it, and then I'm going to make it a little bit darker up here so that we know we clicked it. All right, so now once I've made those states, those built-in states right there, that basically turns it into a button for me. So I'm going to go back to my timeline. I'm going to click it, rectangle 5 here. This one's going to be the close button. I usually do button close. And I'm going to add a trigger since it's selected. I want to show layer. I want it to be, I don't have background on here, so actually what I think I'm going to do on this one, we'll see if it works. I'm going to hide the layer, this layer, when the user clicks, button close. Okay? And then hopefully if we preview it, this will work with I hover over, I click it, her information pops up, I close it, it goes away. Okay? Now where it'll probably get tricky is when we start being able to click different buttons in here, but you guys can kind of toy around with that. So same deal, what I would do now, Tigra's look like it was working. I'm going to duplicate this layer, I'm going to change it so I know which layer we're working with. This one will be Quake info. And what we're going to do is, everything should be in here, so we're just going to start changing some text. As long as you use that duplicate, it should be super easy to do this. So Quake can cause earthquakes out of her hands, and it is awesome. All right, we'll leave that there. So same deal, I want to go up here, I'm going to look at this. So right now what we're doing is we're going to hide this layer, which means it's going to get rid of her name whenever the user clicks close. All right, so let's double click it, hide layer, this layer when the user hits button close. All right, now I need to go back down here to background though, where everything's at. I need to click on the button for Quake. All right, so I've got the Tigra one here. You can either copy it if you want, or I'm going to go ahead and just add a new one in there and do the same thing I did last time. I'm going to show the layer, Quake info, when the user clicks the button Quake, and hit OK. All right, and so now when we go in here and we preview, now I can click Tigra, close it. I can click Quake, I can close it. And if I wanted a next button down here somewhere, easily enough, just do next. I'll show you that here in a second. All right, now the question too is if I go Tigra and I go Quake, that's where I get a little bit of a mess up because it's on different slides. Okay, so if I really wanted to make that work, what I could do now is I go to Tigra. So I'm going to Tigra info, and it's the same thing as up here. I would hit here, add this. It should be called Quake button from earlier, which is good. So Quake button. So I'm going to show layer, Quake info, when the user clicks, the Quake button one right down there. Okay. Same thing if I go up to Quake, I go over to Tigra because we've already done her. I add it, and I say show layer. I want to go to Tigra info, when the user clicks the Tigra button. Okay. And as you add more, you kind of have to go back and backtrack those to make sure all the buttons are working. So again, we're going to preview it. Now when I click Tigra, it pops up. When I click Quake, it goes over to her. When I click Tigra, it goes back. And if I hit close, it closes it out. Hopefully we go here, we close that, and it closes it out. Okay, so that's how you can see you kind of start getting that little mimicky interaction thing going. And if I really wanted to, what I could go do is go back to my bottom page. And actually, let me go up. I'm going to copy this button just so I don't have to remake it. I'm going to go down to my base layer. I'm going to paste it. I'm going to change this to, you guys probably have something like next slide or something like that. All right, I'm going to, for right now, take out this interaction. I don't have multiple slides, but if I wanted to, I would come in here and I'd make this next button, jump to slide, and then I'd say next slide or whatever whenever they click button close. And honestly, I'd probably change this one at this point to something like button next. Okay. So I'll double check it. So jump to next slide when user clicks button next. Okay. All right. And so again, this is the last piece I'm going to show you right here. You hop on, we can go here. Now they can't go to next button until they read the info and close it. Same thing with Quake. They can still jump back and forth because we built that, but they have to close it, and then they can hit next slide, and it takes them to the last slide or the next slide in the lesson. Okay. So that's how you kind of build some of this mimicky interaction, where these are actually little buttons in here, and it just basically hides the layer that you're talking about whenever you click on the button, and then things are ready to run. So hopefully that helps. If you guys have any questions on it, I know this got a little bit long, but let me know. I think you guys will really have fun kind of sticking some of these types of interactions in there, and hopefully jar some thoughts for the future as well. So, all right, thanks guys.